Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is February 1st, 2024, and Lucas Bergvall has chosen to join Tottenham Hotspur over FC Barcelona. This is last minute breaking news. It just hit the media. So this is why I'm doing this live stream. But that's not all the news I want to discuss with you. I also want to discuss with you the news that Barcelona are currently budgeting 35 to 40 million euros for a new pivot. And finally, Eric Abidal has been cleared once again in the liver transplant case. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kit bag, and if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you hit the Bet Us. Both links for kit bag and Bet Us are down below in the description. Now, breaking news because it just hit everywhere that Lucas Bergvall has officially decided to join Tottenham Hotspur over FC Barcelona. I was in fact in the middle of filming. I was filming the video telling you about the doubts that had creeped up about Lucas Bergvall's signing. And as I was filming, I get a text message saying it's official. The hijack is complete and Lucas Bergvall has decided to join Tottenham Hotspur. So I immediately had to stop filming and jump on the camera and do a live. This is not a podcast, so I'm not going to be addressing the comment section. This is just to bring you the last minute news, which again, it just became official. Bergvall has chosen Tottenham Hotspur over FC Barcelona. Now you might ask, what happened? What went wrong? It seemed like it was all tied up. Well, that's exactly how it seemed yesterday. We all know that Bergvall had flown to the city of Barcelona to visit the city, to meet with Deco, with representatives of Barcelona, to visit the facilities. He spent there 2 days. He communicated to the club that he was extremely happy, that he was very excited about coming to Barcelona. He did have a concern about Xavi Hernandez resigning, but it was reported that Deco had calmed down any of his concerns, telling him that Barcelona are working on bringing a new coach, someone who's going to focus on the youngsters, on building a project around the youngsters. And it seemed that that answer was enough for Bergvall. And Barcelona were expecting an answer today. We're expecting that Bergvall would give the okay to Barcelona and sign his contract. But instead, he boarded a flight direct. Immediately, the doubts began to creep that maybe Bergvall was indeed going to choose Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Tottenham Hotspur have always been after Lucas Bergvall, but Barcelona were not worried because Lucas Bergvall had rejected 10 other offers from other clubs. He had told Jude Gardens, I only want to go to Barcelona. And as such, Jude Gardens had accepted Barcelona's offer of 7 million fixed plus 3 million euros in variable. So Barcelona were not worried. But it seems that during the last moments, Tottenham Hotspur offered a lot more money to everyone involved. It's reported that they offered Jude Gardens 15 million euros total between fixed and variable, so 5 million more than Barcelona. It's also reported that they offered Lucas Bergvall a much higher salary than Barcelona. And more importantly, seeing that Tottenham Hotspur offered Lucas Bergvall a spot on their first team, and not only a spot on their first team, but they told him that he would be involved in the rotation of the players. So in other words, not only will he be there on the first team, but he's actually going to be getting playing time as soon as he arrives, which is something that Barcelona could not guarantee the youngster. Barcelona wanted Lucas Bergvall to first start in Barca Athletic so he can adapt, so they can monitor his progress. And then if he did well, promote him to the first team. But Tottenham Hotspur, of course, offering him a first team position right away, which is seemed that swayed Lucas Bergvall more towards Tottenham Hotspur. Now, another point that needs to be discussed, or another point that might have swayed Lucas Bergvall opinion, is this guy right here. Kolakowski, I hope I said that correctly. He's a Swedish player who currently plays for Tottenham Hotspur, and it's reported that he was currently on the line with Lucas Bergvall, trying to convince him to go to Tottenham, telling them that, you know, there he's going to succeed, that they're very focused on the youngsters and development of the youngster. And it seems between the increased salary, the offer of being on the first team at Tottenham Hotspur, plus Kolakowski's please, whatever you want to call him, advice, it seems that Bergvall has chosen Tottenham Hotspur over FC Barcelona. Now, what do I have to say about that? Honestly, when I was filming the video right before, when I was discussing the doubts that Bergvall was saying before I got the news that it's official, I wanted to remind everyone of a quote by no other than Johan Cruyff, which he said, "If you have doubts about playing for Barcelona, then you are no longer of service to us." So let's remember the wise words of Cruyff. If Bergvall was having doubts about playing in Barcelona, if he having doubts about choosing between Barca and Tottenham, no disrespect to Tottenham, but we're not talking about Barca or Madrid like Guller did, or I don't know, Barca or Manchester City like Echeverri did, but we're talking about Barca or Tottenham. If you're already having doubts about that, then I say it's better that he chose Tottenham. We don't need players who have doubts about playing for FC Barcelona. We only want players who are fully committed to the club, who are fully committed to the projects. Players like Vitor Roque, who rejected all the clubs out there who were offering him double, triple, quadruple the salary and instead chose Barcelona. Those are the kind of players that we want, because those are the kind of players who are going to play their asses off, the players who are going to leave it all on the field, and the players who, when they are all tired, it's the final seconds of the game, they're going to do everything in their power to keep pushing, push hard, and get the results. And that's the kind of players we need. So it's a shame that we couldn't get Bergvall, but nonetheless, life goes on, and his loss. But anyways, that's not all the news I wanted to share with you, not just about Lucas Bergvall. There is more news, and let's talk about the midfield, because it's reported that Barcelona have budgeted 35 to 40 million euros next summer for a pivot. Now, this is, of course, important because since the departure of Sergio Busquets, Barcelona haven't had a proper pivot. Of course, we tried with Oriol Romeo. It didn't work out. So Barcelona, one of Barcelona's main priorities this summer will be to sign a pivot, a defensive midfielder, whatever you want to call it. And given the club's difficult financial situation, Barcelona have budgeted 35 to 40 million euros, which of course begs the questions, who's going to be able to fill that role for that much? Because that pretty much rules out many of the big names that have been linked with Barcelona. Names like Bruno Guimaraes, names like Subimendi, names like Kimmich. So we're going to have to see who Barcelona end up scouting. But just know that the budget is 35 to 40 million euros. Now, it is also reported that Barcelona are planning to generate about 200 million euros in player sales this summer. The club needs to offload players, needs more income, given that it's, as I reported yesterday, it's expected that the wage limit is going to be reduced even further. So they are talking about, of course, offloading all the players on loan. That's Lenglet, Dest, Eric Garcia, most likely Ansu Fati. But also they're talking about a sale of an important player on the squad. The question remains who. My guess is going to be someone who's a center back, given how many center backs we have on the first team in the academy. And the talks about Barcelona bringing back Shadriyad. Most likely Andreas Christensen, by 90% I would say Andreas Christensen, just because he does have a market value of 40 mil. He arrived for free. That's pure profit for the club. And maybe we can even be talking about Koundé. Maybe one or the other, maybe even both. But just know that Barcelona will try to generate or plan to generate 200 million euros in player sale. Plus, they have budgeted 35 to 40 million euros for the signing of a pivot. Now, more news because Eric Abidal has been cleared once again in his liver transplant case. Now, you might ask, what are you talking about? What liver transplant case? Well, ladies and gentlemen, before the Enriquez Negreira case, there were many other cases brought up in the media against Barcelona. The Enriquez Negreira case is not the first case that these shameless media outlets have brought up in order to destabilize the club. The club has been accused of all kinds of things like doping, fixing matches, you name it. And back in 2012, Eric Abidal was accused of trafficking in organs. Yes, you heard that right. This bottom of the barrel Madrid media in Spain went as far of accusing Eric Abidal of trafficking in organs. Now, in 2011, Eric Abidal underwent a surgery on his liver because he was battling liver cancer. The surgery did not work. So then in 2012, Eric Abidal had to undergo a liver transplant. After his transplant, going through everything that he went, the transplant, the cancer, you name it, this unscrupulous media in Spain started leaking stories that the liver that Eric Abidal had gotten was obtained illegally through the trafficking of organs. And as a result, the prosecutor's office in Spain opened an investigation. This was all over the media, constantly talking about organ trafficking. Finally, the prosecutor's office didn't find a shred of evidence, and the case was archived. It was kind of like dismissed. It was more like put away because there wasn't a shred of evidence. Fast forward several years, Eric Abidal becomes the sporting director of Barcelona, or he had a post as director of football, not sporting director, director of football in Barcelona in 2018. And coincidence, in 2019, this case is reopened once again because supposedly there was some kind of discrepancies in the payments for this organ. And well, once again, today, the judge has once again archived the case because there's absolutely no evidence that proves or that shows or that links or that hints that Eric Abidal did anything wrong in his liver transplant. And in fact, it was given to him by his own cousin. But of course, none of the mainstream media in Spain are going to report this. They're not going to tell you that for the second time, there's no evidence has been found. Nobody's going to come out and apologize to Abidal, to his family, after everything they went through, the cancer, the transplant, thinking that he was going to die, and then putting him through all this horrific nonsense that he somehow trafficked in organs. Nobody's going to apologize for that. But this is the state of Spanish media. This is the bottom of the barrel people. They're absolutely shameless, and they have no scruples. Anyway, speaking of the media, I did come across, I guess we'll end the video with happy news since the news of Bergvall wasn't that great. But I do want to show you this chart that was published today. This chart shows the top 10 most watched matches in La Liga this season. And lo and behold, 7 out of those 10 matches are Barcelona matches. There's the Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid. And you're saying now, okay, yeah, those are two big opponents. But then you keep going down the list and you see Barca Athletic Club, Barca Granada, Barca Osasuna, Barca Valencia, Barca Real Sociedad, which goes to show that no, Barcelona are not a finished club. And week after week, Barcelona are still the most watched club in La Liga. They're the most watched club in the Champions League. And no matter what people out there tell you, this is not a finished club. This club gives a lot of people food to eat or puts food on a lot of people's table. Anyways, guys, that is all the news for today. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think about Bergvall using Tottenham, going to Tottenham over Barcelona? What do you think about the Abidal case? What do you think about Barcelona budgeting 35 to 40 million euros for a pivot and wanting to generate 200 million euros in sales? Let me know in the comment section. I will be posting a video later today talking about the Barcelona injuries, Xabi's options, etc., etc. See you in that video. And as always, peace, guys.